Welcome back, Sports This Morning on Channels TV. We showed you highlights from the Aegon Championship. Andy Murray defeating Milos Raonic. That's his fifth title right there at the Queens. And then we showed you another highlight from the Hour Open. What a story for 32-year-old German Florian Mayer defeating a 19-year-old Alexander Zverev. Now that's experience showing class over youthfulness. Well, let's wish Zverev all the best. Some tennis have to get you talking. Let's come back home now. In April, the Ministry of Sports set up a committee for reforming sports in Nigeria. Godwin Kienka was made the chairman of the Sports Reforms Committee. What's the agenda? Restructure, redefine sports in Nigeria, make it admirable, change it, so it can actually be profitable, and then all the good things that we need to meet international standards will be gotten from Nigerian sports. They've concluded the first phase of the retreat, and Godwin Kienka is back to talk to us about what was achieved and the way forward, talking about sports reforms in Nigeria. Good morning, Godwin Kienka, and welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay, first phase gone. Has the objective been achieved?
Yes, I will say yes to that. We learned a lot. We interacted with resource persons from the private and public sectors, and a lot of that research, a lot of the feedback that we got was very deep. And if you consider that some of the resource persons have deep-seated bitterness, experiences that didn't go away for over 32 years in the hands of sports administrators or the sports institutions and all that they went through before they achieved what they achieved, then you know that the reform process has been something waiting to happen for too long.
So what's the next phase now?
Basically, we at the point where we can start to put together our findings. Decisions have been reached, and now we have to begin to put together the draft and the report so that we can meet the deadline for submission, which is July 14th. I think we are very well on course, and a lot of the submissions that have come through, a lot of what we know, is basically things that are in the air that is common knowledge. But I think that the approach that we adopted helped us to know that it's got to be practical, and that the trend or the general consensus from even the public sector resource persons was that we can't keep doing things the same way and expect a different result. So things have to be rejigged, and then of course the tendency or the general consensus is that sports in Nigeria has to be largely private sector driven, because it's an industry. It's a huge industry. It's the second largest employer of labor, and why haven't we cashed in on that resource, that possibility that a lot of our youths can be made to create wealth for themselves, their families, and the country? You just saw 19-year-old Zverev, 19 years, get into the finals of Hala, beating Federer, 19. Now he is, where he is now, he's talking about at least his $10 million this year. I mean, guaranteed. And you can tell what that will make for his family, for himself, for now he's a German citizen, I guess, and what it will do for his country. So the amount of money in the sports industry is so huge that we should invest. I mean, the thinking is that we should invest deliberately so that our youths can be a part of that wealth that they can get from the sports industry.
Okay, now you talked about major decisions were reached, and even people that were having bad blood mocked them and all that, they were able to settle. Was there healing at the end of the day? And what are the highlights some of the highlights can actually tell us?
Yes, that was basically healing, because they could see that there was sincerity of purpose, and that we were not being teleguided by anybody. Okay. Remember that we decided to fund this thing ourselves. We didn't collect money from government so that nobody's going to tell us what to do. And to be fair to the minister, there was no interference. Just go do your job. But to make sure that we were independent and free, we funded the entire process ourselves. That's one. But the major decisions was that, some of the major decisions was that, some of the interesting things that came out of it was that some of the ideas that we bounced off some of the private institutions or some of the institutions that run sports, like the Nuga Games and all that, were already being implemented. They don't have to wait for a white paper. Okay, I'll give you one example. The Nuga system that the Nigerian University Games Association, they have a biannual Nuga Games. Yes. And we talked last time that is the belt where we have the youths, the prime age for success in sports. Yes. And now they have a biennial games every 2 years. Mm-hmm. That wasn't going to produce top world-class players. So we said each sport had to be championized, that it has to be a championship independent of themselves. So you have a basketball championship running every year
in the university
settings, okay, and all that. And then athletics one season, the same way they do at the NCAA. Mm-hmm. And before we even finished, basketball has already gotten a sponsorship for university games. I think football, somebody is driving the football project. Tennis, I won't mention the sponsor now, but it's already gotten a sponsor to be an independent championship, a yearly event. So if they are not even waiting for the white paper to come out, it's already been...
so how soon can this one start? How soon?
It's up to Nuga, for instance, but I'm telling you, by next season, there will be independent championships, and then you have the college, university sports busy all year round, and then you have students becoming stars and the sportsmen becoming stars and heroes and models instead of cultists, pimps and all that.
Now, so how can they cope? How would they be able to cope with their studies and all that? Because we know sometimes the university system don't usually give that room, for athletes and players to actually compete at the championship and also be at their best because of the way the curriculum works.
That's very easy. It's worked in the States, it's worked in major Canada, it works in Australia. But the thing is that it becomes a weekend thing. We had Oliver Johnson from the Ahmed Bello University, who is well into basketball. When he saw this project, he was like screaming. He was so happy because they can go on a Friday, play on a Saturday, and be back on Sunday. And then they have to play in conferences. So the university system has 8 zones, so they can play within the zones and then come through, play zonal conference, and then the national conference, and all can be done within the week, and they don't have accommodation problems and all that. So the weekends become the belt, the window where they can do that without affecting their classes. So everything is worked out. Basically, what we've done is that we've been hard on details how to achieve these things, and I think some of the things that we found was that there's not a lot of knowledge, and people are not taking enough responsibility for what they have to do. So, for instance, we're going for the Olympic Games. People were screaming, oh, no preparation, no camp, no nothing. And the point is that who is responsible for preparing Olympic athletes? It is the Nigerian Olympic Committee, not the ministry. But there has been a lot of racketeering and insincerity of purpose in the system for too long, because the ministry goes and makes a huge budget, 7 billion for Commonwealth Games or one big budget for the Olympics, when it is not their business, okay? Because it's becoming a racket. They can get money from government and they don't have to account for it. They can latch on propaganda of patriotism and not have to So the point is, now we can specifically say that this is your responsibility, go do it. You have the lottery funds, you have the national sports development funds and all that to do these things. And we don't need government. We don't need government in every sector of, there are places they can come through, and that has been done. And we've also done the grassroots structure in such a way that the process of producing athletes to become world champions can be seen from age 6 or so to when they become world champions. And I think, let me quickly mention the fact that I think there's been a misconception. I mean, we put too much premium on Olympic medals, Commonwealth medals. Okay, Chioma Ojunwa won Commonwealth gold medals. She's in one division in police, in a little office. She hasn't created wealth. She hasn't affected the nation. She hasn't done anything. But I mean, I subscribe to the ideals of Coubertin, who with the Olympic ideals. But in this day and age, people are using sports to create wealth. People are trying to be world champions. And then the Olympic gold medal will come along the way. It's part of the process, milestones towards becoming the best in the world. So if we identify talent and say we want this child to be the best in the world, he might become an Olympic champion. He may not. Federer was #1 for so long. He hasn't won an Olympic singles medal, but I think he's won doubles. Okay, so people are not working out to be Olympic champions per se. They're working out to be the best with all the money they can get. The Kenyan athletes that are making $2 million a year, most of them, a lot of them, and are leading the world in athletics, they don't have the kind of facilities we have. They don't have the kind of funds that we have. So it is because the public sector cannot, they don't have that target mentality, achievement, delivery mentality and all that. So that's why I think we agree with the majority of people who have made presentations that we should be going the private sector way.
So yeah, in terms of going down the private sector, what are you guys doing? I mean, what is the committee doing to encourage, you know, more participation from them?
Yes, basically it's to incentivize every process. Let's take the grassroots, for instance. If we have a great structure, let's, not because we're on channels, but let's say the football structure that you have the primary Channels Cup, which has captured the primary school. We have the Shell Cup, which has captured the secondary school. Now, the Shell Cup model gives the winner about 1.4 million for winning, and then they give each player 45,000 naira. So that child with 45,000 naira can help his parents, his mother set up a business if she needs to, or make a difference to the family. And then the family can begin to see, oh, something is coming in, and then they can encourage that child. Okay. Now, if you want to use that as a model to produce world-class footballers, you have to go back to the state or the local government where these boys are coming from, get the best of them to represent the state, and then at the national level, you get the best players. And then it becomes another tier that you can use to produce world-class. You do the same thing for athletics, you do the same thing for basketball, and then the point that you incentivizing each process makes it attractive for the private sector to come in. Okay. Because the 1.4 million that Shell gives to the winning school will go towards paying the coach, will go to paying other resource persons.
Right. The experiences, you know, the values added into the life of the kids, very, very important. Thank you so much, Godwin Kienka, for coming around. I want to wish you and your team all the best in your quest to reform sports in Nigeria.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, we'll go on a quick break now. When we come back, we'll be talking more on sports, of course, talking about Nigerian Professional Football League and so much more. Stay with us.